Three, two, one. Welcome back to another episode of TacoCorp Fantasy Football League podcast. I am your host, Nate. You can find our show on all socials at TacoCorp Pod and also on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening. Be sure to hit that subscribe, leave a comment, review, like it, get us out there, seen by some more people. If you don't like it, send it to all your friends and say, hey, watch this, it's terrible, whatever it may be. Just help us out. Maybe they like it or whatever like that. But anyways, today we are recapping a championship that happened 2 weeks ago. We took a week off. We had scheduled this here for the day after the Monday Night Football game because the fantasy championship would be done. But then, as we all know, everything that happened and transpired on Monday night, kind of just texted Brandon here. Hey, I don't think we're going to record a podcast this week. It was just kind of eerie, felt weird, didn't know what to say, didn't want to say all the same stuff that everybody else was saying because nobody knows what to say. But they all have shows. I don't have to put out a show. We don't have to put out a show. Just take a week off, let it settle. Dudes at home and shit, dancing on ring cameras and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So shout out to DeMar Hamlin there. But I am joined today by our champion this year, the first three-time champion of TacoCorp Fantasy Football League. That is Brandon, the owner of Too Hot to Handle. How you doing today, Brandon?
I am doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing well. In the background, for those that are not watching on the YouTube right now, you will see two trophies that are going to be
What?
accompanied by a new one here once ever I get that out. You know, this trophy that's behind me right here over my right shoulder. Um, that's actually not mine. That's James's. I haven't mailed it out since his championship last week, but it's been sitting here and it looks cool on my camera. So I need to get that out to him. But you took him down this year, Brandon. How's it feel to be a fantasy champion once again?
Not gonna lie, feels like my cock is made out of concrete.
Oh shit.
I mean, although he did have one player left, but the odds of Joe Burrow getting 60 points were about as I don't know, better chance to see pigs fly.
Yeah.
So
Um yeah, definitely. So that we had that situation run in our league where that was the only matchup that we had that had Monday night players. I think there were the third place one had them as well, but it was pretty even. It's like Devin Singletary versus T. Higgins, and T. Higgins was going to outscore him anyways because the Bengals were going to trounce that team. And Singletary's not going to catch a bunch of passes anyways. Um, but your guys' matchup did have Joe Burrow for James going in on Monday night. Uh, and you were up by 60 something points. The likelihood of that happening for quarterbacks, I don't know if there was one. I tried to look back. I don't know if there was one that hit 60 all year. I think like a wide receiver might have hit it, or Travis Kelsey might have hit it, or something like that. One of those weeks, but the likelihood of that happening wasn't very likely. So I didn't really put out something. I noticed other leagues that we're in said, hey, due to this is what I'm saying or whatever. I just kind of let it pan out, and I think everybody kind of knew anyways, right? And I haven't talked to James, but I'm pretty sure he's okay with it because you posted a picture in our private group that was like a WWE player with the belts around him or a boxer with all the belts around him. He just liked it and was like, yeah, whatever, like that. So no bitching, no complaining or whatever. We move on. Um, and that's that. But we'll go over and we'll talk about that later on a little bit as we get into news and notes. But we'll go over the same 5 topics here. We got top of mind where we'll just talk about what's on our mind coming in and out of last week into the next week. Manager on manager, we'll ask each other a question. News and notes in the sports realm. We'll do a draft, and then we will have rants and raves. But we're just going to rave. We're going to keep it positive here on the show before leaving you with a banger of the week. So, Brandon, out of last week into this week, what's on top of your mind?
well, if I pause here, would you be able to edit?
Yeah.
Fucking kids knocking on the door.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, hold on 1 second.
Yep. Yep. Insert 5 minutes later. I like that thing, the little SpongeBob thing or whatever like that. All right. So top of mind coming in this week out of last week, Brandon, what do you got?
Well, I'm excited to finally conclude this fantasy football season. I'm ready to enjoy some football this week without worrying about how all these players are doing, even though I'm still probably going to put some bets and we're going to be right back where we were anyway. And also on top of my mind, my kids got me sick again, as you can probably tell in my voice, for like the
Nice.
third time this week, it seems, and it's kind of pissing me off.
Nice. My oldest daughter got sick the last couple of days. She got this like, hey, I'm my stomach hurts. I feel like I got to throw up. And then maybe she gags a little bit, throws up a little bit in the morning. And then by like 9 o'clock, she's completely fine. And then good all throughout the day. And then before bed, it's the same thing again. So that happened a couple days. I had to take a couple days off of work. That shit sucks.
Always before.
Luckily, yeah, always before bed, right when you got to go to school. Like I've fucking done this already, kid. So
Middle of the day, got nothing going on. They're perfect.
yeah, and yeah. And that shit sucks. I hate sick kids, especially doing the job solo. Right? It's not like their mom lives in the East Coast, so and we're in Colorado, but it makes it a little difficult when it's like you're the only guy. You can't take them to school. You can't take them to a daycare thing because they're sick. So it's like you just got to take time off, and it's like, yo, that's my vacation time or my leave time. And their school district here has a bunch of days off throughout the year. Like we're getting in a teacher workday season where it's like every week, 2 weeks, there's one
Admin day.
admin days, and I got to fucking take time off to watch them during that time frame. So kind of it's a thing, but for me, um, I'm ready for the weather to get warm. I was talking to a dude at work today because we were walking outside and it was cold and super windy today. And I was like, you know what it is, man? I was like, I feel like we forget that winter lasts until like March, until spring starts, right? And in
Yeah.
Colorado, it could be until like we can get a foot of
May.
snow in May, right? But in general, it usually lasts till about March or whatever like that. But I think we're all inherently built that Christmas happened, New Year's happened. All right, let's get to
Winter's
65
over.
degrees. That's the only thing we look forward to in winter is those months. Like I don't snowboard and stuff like that yet, so it's
Yeah.
like I'm not into that yet. But so there's nothing else to look forward to when it's freezing that's cold. So like let's just get warm. Let's get baseball out, or whatever like that. Pitchers catchers report. We know the world is all good, and then we're gonna get 8 months of fucking baseball, and it's gonna be beautiful. So anybody who hates baseball and thinks it's a boring game, you're boring. You're stupid. Go leave a 1-star review. I don't care. You're dumb. So
Get out of America.
Get out of America. We got a bunch of people trying to come through the border. We need room. Get out. Everybody down there loves baseball and they're damn good at it. So we'll give them citizenships and they'll be on the World Baseball Classic team for the U.S.
Damn right.
Yep. All right. That's top of mind for me. So let's move on to manager. Manager. So I got a question for you, Brendan. What's a better feeling? And I thought about this the other day because I did this first piece really good, and I was like, wow, this is fantastic. And it made me think about it. So what's a better feeling? Getting that booger out of your nose that completely clears the whole thing, and you can just breathe really well, right? It feels so empty, and like you're just getting like a whole suction of air going through you, or getting that last part of a dump out that you've sat on the toilet for minutes holding your breath so you don't pinch it off, but then when it's finally out you're like, oh yes, I'm complete, because you know that if you don't get that out and you just cut it off, you wipe, you let it go back in, once you stand up you're going to feel like it's got to come out again. You're like, fuck it, I'm going to sit down again. So what do you feel is a better feeling?
Two things. One, when I was reading this question, when you sent me the read aheads, I was cracking up. And two, this might be one of the hardest questions that I've ever been asked in my life because they are two very good, different feelings.
Oh yeah.
I mean, getting that booger out and then you just breathe. Oh,
Yeah. They're
but
usually like ones that are lodged like way back deep, right? And you can only get a little piece of it
like,
if you're a nose picker, right?
But getting that dump off to where you only got to wipe once.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're wiping a marker. Man, this is tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to go with though getting the dump out because, like I said, knowing you successfully completed that task, you're not gonna have to come back. I can go blow a snot rocket in the front yard if I wanted to. Although they're both very good feelings, I'm gonna have to give the edge to getting that perfect dump to where you're not pinching and it just kind of falls out. However, I have been in a situation where while waiting for that dump, I blew my nose and I kind of got both at the same time.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I just came.
Or you ever sniff so hard sometimes that you just accidentally fucking swallow it?
Yeah.
Like, I guess that works.
Yeah. That's funny. I oh man, this one's hard. I hate having to like a couple. So my fiber's been up lately, right? So I've been gassy and my body's kind of cleansing itself a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Like trying to be a lot more health conscious. Me and my kids, we made a rule. I think I was telling Tony the other day because he came by the house. I was like, um, trying not to go out to eat a lot because we do that a lot. We order food or whatever like that. But
Yeah.
the rule, like we're not going out to eat, but the rule, even if we go to fast food, is we're not going to go through a drive-through. We're going to go inside, right? So that usually stops us from going to places because it's
I don't
like,
want to eat inside.
yeah, the ease of grabbing something, trying to be in a hurry or whatever, but just trying to enjoy whatever time we have, right? Because sometimes, a lot of times, me like doing the whole parenting solo, not to beat a dead horse, but like mine's always on what do I got to get done? I got to do this, get it all set up, right? I got to make sure dinner, I got to make sure dishes, this is
Yeah.
clean. Holy shit, someone needs a bath, right? And then you're trying to do all this stuff, so it's really easy to go pick something up, have
Yep.
them sit down and eat, and then do other things. So I'm trying to be a lot more conscious of sitting down every single time and eat, and wherever we're at or whatever like that. Because I usually wouldn't eat something from like McDonald's or something like that. I'll just get them something and I'll be like, yeah, I'll just eat a sandwich or
Yep.
eat half a pint of ice cream or something like that at night and some dumb shit and not eat well. So I'm trying to do a lot of that. But anyways, back to being fibered up. Um, I go to work and it's like I had the runs for a couple of days last week and I'm like, God damn it, right? So you go
The
and it's
worst.
like, and it's the worst because you can't trust a fart anymore. So then and when you can't trust a fart, you got to go sit down. And then you go sit down and all you do is fucking and you just blow the bowl, right? And it echoes so loud. But then you get up and you're like, okay, that was it. But then you get up and it all sits back down inside of you. And you're like, I'm not even done. But now I just sat up, right? So all of my ass smell came up. And now I just go back and sit down in it. It's just like, it's one of the worst things, man. I've had this problem for a long time where I'm gonna go take a shit and I'll fart right before I sit down. But
Yep.
then I just sit down right and my face is right where my fart is. And I'm like, what the hell did I do?
What did I
Like
just
this,
do?
this is the stupidest thing, right? But with that said, like the nose thing, I got one out the other day and it was like barely, I could barely like touch it. I had like one fingernail left that can get like deep. And I'm not afraid. So I'll pick my fucking nose. I don't care. Wash my hands after. But um, but I do that, and then it's like this little hard part, and then it pulls out this long wet thing or
Oh,
whatever like that,
yeah.
right? But then it came out, and I was like, oh, it doesn't even feel like I have like nose hairs. Like I've never felt this feeling before. It's so good, whatever. And so I was comparing it to like getting that last part of a shit out because. Dude, there's a lot of anxiety when it comes to trying to hold your breath because you don't want it to pinch off because you know you're going to be there for another 15 minutes if you do.
You don't
And
want to come back later, especially at work. The single ply.
dude, it's so bad.
You take 2
It
or 3 dumps at work, your ass is you're gonna be on fire when you get
it's
home.
it's straight up raw. Like I bitch about toilet paper all the time. Like and where I work, it's completely disgusting. Like our bathroom is terrible. And I'm like, this would never happen where I used to work, right? Like we just care about facilities, have people come clean
Yeah.
them, and here it's just the guys who work in the office type of clean it. So um yeah, there's nothing worse than having to go back. Um I think they bamboozle us on that one ply paper because they actually split it
At
in
least half
two
ply.
anyways. So it's so it looks like there's two pieces to it.
You
It's
can
like,
look it up. You can pull it up. You can see through it.
yeah, I could read a book through the toilet paper, like 4 sheets of it. It's terrible. But yeah, I think I'll go with taking a dump thing, right? Getting the last piece out. I think that's the best feeling in the world. So
I had
you got a
better
question
toilet
for me?
paper. I had better toilet paper in Afghanistan than do at work. It was pretty
Yeah.
sad.
I would rather go use Haji Jim's leftover water bottle that's in the stall that has like half water in it because that's what they use to wash their
Yeah,
ass. So
squeeze it up in there.
yeah,
Ugh. Question for you. So, if Robin Williams showed up right now as the genie from Aladdin, and he said he would grant you the power to read people's minds, would you accept his offer? And
no,
I thought about this earlier, and I was like, I used to think it'd be cool to read people's minds, but now I'm like, no, because I know I'd be walking down the street or something, and someone would start talking shit to me in their mind, and I'll just get mad, or you just hear some gross ass shit of like what they were doing right before they shook your hand or something.
yeah,
I don't know, but I don't
it's
think I can handle it.
I cannot read minds right now. I know I cannot like legitimately tell what someone is thinking.
Not at
And
all.
I already try to do it, and it drives me completely fucking insane to try to figure out what people are thinking. And if I knew what they were thinking, it would bother the hell out of me. Um, and then I go to extremes on everything. That's just how I'm hardwired. It's terrible. It's completely detrimental to the quality of my brain's ability to operate, right? It fucks me up bad, but like I have two little girls,
Yeah.
and like the moment like there's like whatever person, right? And it's like you wouldn't even know this in real life, but the moment that you know that someone's a fucking sick fuck,
Oh
like
yeah.
it would drive me completely insane. It would be dope to have a filter of like, there's something positive, right? Like I toggle on like
I want to read this
like
person's mind right now.
yeah, like chicks that like I'd filter it to be like complete smoke shows that that just want to nail me, right? And
Daddy
I don't
issues.
I don't I don't act on it, but it's just real it feels really good to
Good
know
to know.
like that chick wants to wrap her mouth
You
around
just look
me.
at her and you go, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe someday, girl. Or like, just something like that, right?
So
But yeah. If it had like a toggle, a filter, right? Like Zillow, hey, I only want 4 bedrooms, I only want 3 bedrooms or no condos, right?
last thing
Something
you
like
want
that.
is you're standing in front of Wayne Henry and he's talking about banging you in his mind. So
Yeah. God damn. I really wish I was in Nate's fantasy league. I should have just put the belly button, you know. I wonder
could have
if he'll
taken
let me I wonder if he'll let me back in if I blow him. I
it was
I'd
blow him anyway.
yeah, I'd suck Nate off for a chance to be back in TacoCorp. That'd be
Could
that'd be fantastic. And
could
I
have
would
took
never let him back in.
could have taken the
Oh,
piercing out by now.
yeah. But then he would be like, "What else do I have to do in order to get back in the league?" Right? Well, I'd probably let him do this to me. Like, oh, that would be fantastic.
Blow the whole league. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. You have a train ran on you. You be the back of the human centipede.
We'll jizz in your bad eye, Wayne.
Yeah, you won't even know it's there. That's fucked up. That's so fucked up, man.
Sorry, Wayne. Love you.
I love that dude, man. That dude's like a really good friend. We could trash
Yeah.
on him a lot, but he helped me out a lot through like my struggles and shit like that. I think you might
And
have been there for
we
one
can
of
always
those.
bring him with us to hockey games. So
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna bring him again.
oh yeah,
Yeah, that'd be so good. We'll bring him
we should
again.
bring him and maybe like Ricky Marshall this time or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. We should. I should make a photo of them like together, right? Like together, and be like they couldn't be here with us today.
Just like
So
the old Halloween days.
yeah, that'd be so good. All right, let's move on to we'll do NFL news and notes. We're primarily going to touch on the fantasy stuff, but uh we talked a little bit about it earlier. Obviously, the fantasy season is over. Brandon, you are our champion, first 3-time champion. That makes me fucking sick to my stomach. Uh, dude, when I won the second one, I was so hyped. Like, yes, I'm the only two-timer, right? I'm the manager of the league, commissioner of the league. Commissioners aren't supposed to win their own leagues, and I've won it twice. Everybody sucks. And then all of a sudden, it's like you won it again, James won it again, and then Nick's in contention to win another one, 1 year or whatever like that. I think it was last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. And I'm like, oh my god, this sucks. I got to win another one, and then I'm like in competition for Sacco, and I get the Sacco last year, which was the worst fucking thing in the world. It was actually pretty cool. It was fun. It wasn't as bad. It just sucked while doing it. Like couldn't breathe after jumping in that cold ass water. Doing a polar plunge, like it just literally took the air out of me. But it was
Oh
actually pretty cool. It's probably something that's really beneficial for your body. I think. Like I don't know, having that shock to it or whatever.
that's
So
what I said.
I felt really alive after. My body didn't feel right. Like I
Yeah,
felt weak. I like sat in a hot bath for like 4 hours after, and I still felt like weak. But
yeah.
I think after like I stayed up for like till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and was completely like productive and stuff. It was pretty crazy. But um, thoughts on winning your third championship? Thoughts on winning a championship this year? Thoughts on how the league went? Whatever you want to talk about. Waiver wires, your team, other people's teams. You went on a skid. Like you were one of the top teams in the league, and then you went on a 4 or 5 game losing streak to get into
Yeah,
the playoffs. Got in by sneaking in by points in a tiebreaker with the
yeah.
seventh place team. So you might not even have made it into the playoffs. You're at risk of that, and then you end up dominating the playoffs. Your thoughts on the league as a whole, or maybe your thoughts on how you thought it would go, where it ended up, or whatever like that. Floor is yours.
The floor is mine. So yeah, I right there with you. So from the draft, I thought I drafted a pretty solid team. I like to go wide receiver heavy in your league because there's just
Hmm.
so many spots for those PPR points. You got your 3 wide receivers, your 2 flex. The last couple, like 2 to 3 years, I've been trying to start more receivers in those spots because it seems like we're having a downfall in these running backs that just catch like 8 or get like 8 targets a game. We just don't see that much anymore with the old Le'Veon Bells and whatnot. So
Hmm.
yeah, I've been going a lot of wide receiver heavy and just hoping my running backs don't get hurt. Um,
Yep.
but the good thing about running backs is they are getting hurt so often. There's so many on the waiver wire. I think I got lucky this year. Drafted Chubb and Kamara. Kamara was kind of a letdown, but he did. He I think he got me 10 most weeks over 10. So I mean, but it's
Hmm.
not the 30-point Kamara we're used to seeing.
Yep.
And then, but yeah, like you said, it started off fairly decent. I was like 500 for a little bit. Then I went on a tear. I think I was 7-3. I think I
Hmm.
led the league in points at some point.
Yep.
And then yeah, I lost like 4 or 5 in a row. I was just getting pissed. and oh my god, especially the ones where you score high and the other one scores higher. I'm just like it
Yeah.
seemed like nothing was going my way. Luckily though, I scored enough points early on in the season to squeak into the playoffs. And my closest matchup ended up being week 1. I think I won by like 4 or 5. Then I
Yep.
murdered the faces off of Clint and James.
That feels good, man. Like,
Yes. When you do it in
especially for
style, you don't have to worry about it. It feels pretty good.
especially for you guys that like don't know them, right? Because they've been
Yeah.
like a 1-2 type team every single year, right? One
Oh,
of them is up there all the time. So everybody's just like, we have the saying in the league of fuck Clint, right? When nobody's met the guy, right? So it's kind of funny,
and
but
he's a good sport.
but it's all just because they're good and we just don't know them, right? So to be able to beat those two who are, traditionally at the top of the league every single year in and out, which is pretty fantastic when you look at it from a long-term thing to have that kind of success. That's got to feel good. So,
Yeah, because how long's James been in the league? Not very long, right?
yeah, he came in like a year after, 2 years after, something like that. I forget what got him in. Someone left or we expanded or something like that. So 4
Yeah.
years, 5 years, maybe something like that. I think he came in after year three, somewhere
Or
around there. But
or
he
did
was
he
one of
change?
those guys who wanted his first
Yeah.
year in too.
Yeah.
So that because Clint won it his first year in the league, then James won it his first year in the league. And those are the ones that suck. It's like, who the fuck are these assholes coming in our league and just dominating? Like,
Yeah, I won it the first year also.
yeah.
So,
And that was
well,
that was
Coast will say it's him though, but
whatever. That league doesn't exist.
yeah.
Like, I created a better league than what Trey was running at the time. So that was cool though. Trey set it up though, and he brought in the IDP thoughts and stuff like that, which got me into it when I'm actually pretty decent in IDP dynasty and stuff like that too. So I didn't lose. I didn't win this year. I lost to Matt Graham in that playoff.
Mhm.
Um, um, Thanks to a Taylor Rapp interception of Tom Brady because Aaron Rodgers because Alan Lazard and him turned the wrong way and he throws it straight to Taylor Rapp, interception, game over. That's how you beat me in the
I
playoffs
still
there.
think
But
Raps make that interception. That dude
yeah,
blows.
but yeah, so the league's great. Yeah, everybody wins in their first year coming in a league. I won in Tony's league, in Kosa's league. The first year I was in that, it was a 2 quarterback league at the time when took that thing down with Blake Bortles and Kirk Cousins. That was back in the
Hey,
day,
Kirk
right?
Cousins, my starting quarterback. So he's
Yes.
he's decent in the fantasy realm.
Yeah, like you're gonna get close to 20, right? You're gonna get
He's not gonna blow the stat sheet up, but
yeah.
he's consistent. Even when he's down by like 40 at halftime, he'll throw like 3 touchdowns in the second half. So
Yeah, I remember I had a buddy, my buddy Leonard, guy I worked with back before I joined the world's greatest air force. But he listens to the show and he comments sometimes on like the posts and stuff like that on social.
yeah,
He rags on people, Tony, and all this kind of stuff, right? And some of those comments, it's kind of funny. But he hit me up. I think it was him. He hit me up. He was like, "Yo, I'm thinking about like quarterbacks that people aren't looking at, right?" And I remember I was in class one day. It was before the season started, and I was like, "Dude, Kirk Cousins, like the guy always throws for 4,000. He's gonna throw for 25 touchdowns." Justin Jefferson, right? And people just don't like him, right? They want the sexy new thing or whatever like that. I was also big on like my number one dude was like Jameis Winston. I remember telling him, I was like, dude, Jameis. Like, and I think Jameis got shafted, right? Like he got hurt.
They gave up on him pretty quick.
Like people forget that the dude threw for like 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. Like, sure, he threw for 30 picks,
30
but
30.
it makes up, man, when you're getting 120 yards in the fourth quarter and you're coming back and
He just got his new eyes.
yeah. So I was big on him. That didn't work out well. But Kirk Cousins thing, I was like, yeah, this feels pretty good. I rode him in Coast's league pretty far too, so that was pretty nice. But
Rode him hard.
um, speaking of your lineup, so on our trophies, right? So we do a couple things on our trophies. The front has the league logo. On the left and right sides of the trophies is your schedule with your scores. So to track your record throughout, 1-0, 2-0. So kind of like your season from just a scoreboard standpoint or whatever like that. And on the back side, we end up putting your championship roster and the amount of points, right? And it's pretty cool. I think on your first one, there's a running back from like the Detroit Lions, I forget.
Jacques Bell.
Yeah, Joik Bell, right? So
Yeah.
I remember that every time I see that picture, I'm like, man, fucking this dude won a fantasy championship. I think it's kind of cool, right? I'm kind of glad that we ended up doing that, putting those on the back because
Yeah.
as we go years and years down the line, it's like, man, I fucking started Joik Bell and won a championship. He put up 18 points, like the Detroit Lions. Like that's Matthew Stafford, Detroit Lions, and you're like, this team sucked.
Yeah, have it.
But yeah, check it out. Let's see what your roster was on the back of that first one.
We got Ben Roethlisberger, Joik Bell, Le'Veon Bell. So two Bells at running back. That was his rookie year. Also, rookie year, Odell Beckham Jr. picked him up off the waivers of Week 4 and freaking had
Yeah,
best rookie seasons of all time. Calvin Johnson,
there you go.
tight end Dwayne Allen. He got me 0.
Don't even know what team that was for.
I don't even know who he played for at the time. Torrey Smith in the flex. He got me 23. He actually
Damn.
was the second leading scorer. And then DeAndre Levy in my IDP spot at 7.5. I had the Buffalo Bills defense and Cody Parkey. Cody Parkey as my
Cody
kicker.
Parkey, Philly
When
Eagles.
we used to have those things in our league.
Yeah, when we had all those dumb positions like defense and kickers. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So it'll be interesting. Your roster.
Yeah.
I mean, you got one or two guys that might be kind of one of those things on yours, right? You got the Vikings quarterback, so Kirk Cousins, Kamara, Nick Chubb, Devontae Adams, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, George Kittle, and then these two are probably going to be your Joik Bells and your Dwayne Allens or whatever. And it's like Jacoby Myers and Christian Watson in the flex, and both of those guys gave you about 30 points. This
Myers,
week.
when he plays, he's always hurt, but when he's on the field, he gets used. So
yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Like just looking at when you go through all the metrics and stuff, the people you had on your bench, you had Dak Prescott, MVS, Madison went off for a 19 that game. Jamison Williams, man, I wonder what that dude would have been like if he would have played the whole year.
The last 2 games, that's
yeah. Especially with the way that the Detroit Lions played all season, right? Jeff Wilson Jr., sitting on Miami now, Nelson Aguilar, and then Romeo Dubs. So pretty good roster. It's kind of crazy when you look back at it and you think back to like draft day, right? Like you probably had these Kamara Chubbs in the first 3 rounds.
Yep.
Kittle probably in the 4th, maybe the 5th. Devonta Adams in that 2nd to 3rd round range. And then you're looking at Jalen Waddle, who was a monster for people this year. Devonta Smith turned it on near the end of the year, catching touchdowns and stuff like that. And then George Kittle, once Brock Purdy came in, it was like a whole new dude, right? They're just like, yo, it's from Iowa, so I threw him the ball. But I can't give guys from Iowa. Purdy probably save your season. Brock Purdy, fantasy MVP for your team.
Kittle was a huge disappointment for like the first 10 games or so.
Mm-hmm.
And same with Devonta Smith. That dude came out of nowhere. Just started catching balls, if you know what I mean.
I remember I tried to submit like trade offers to you early in the season, and it was when Jimmy G started playing, right? When he after the Broncos game, I was like trying to get George Kittle because I think George Kittle was hurt for a little bit too.
Yeah, he didn't
And then
play first 2 games, I think.
yeah, and then it was like up against Denver because I went to that game and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to trade George Kittle for like Kyle Pitts and another piece, right? And I was trying to get George Kittle, and then it just never went through. Maybe my season, maybe I'm in the damn championship and I'm not over here playing fucking whoever this douchebag from the Broncos is, Dolchich or
Don't
whatever
even
like
get
that.
me started on Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts was
Probably top
rough.
3 tight end in the league, and they can't freaking use him.
Yeah, that was rough. Um, he's going to be a guy who's like a sixth rounder next year because people still believe in him, but then they're not going to know what to do with the coaching staff and stuff like that. And then he'll bump up to like the fourth, and then some leagues will be in the eighth, right? Like you're never going to know what to do. I'm just probably going to stay away. Fuck it. Hope I
Yeah,
get the one of one and pick Travis Kelsey.
until they get
One of
Tom
one
Brady.
overall.
Wonder why. Yeah, unless you get the top, like, Kelsey, Kittle, even,
Even
Hawkinson now.
yeah.
Uh, Kirk Cousins used the shit out of him when he got him, so he might be a top 3 tight end next year.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins was really good with the tight end. When you're looking at all those back in that day, they were the Washington Redskins tight ends, right?
Oh, yeah.
They were
Reed,
ballers, man. Yeah.
he didn't
Jordan
have too many
Reed,
hiccups this season.
that dude, who knows what he would have been if he didn't get concussed all the time. So um pretty crazy. Any other thoughts on the league? So anyways, let's just get to that point, right? I'm just gonna guide that little discussion. So Chad ends up with the Sacco this year. Chad and Trey faced off for the Sacco. Chad got smoked, of course. Uh, Trey had to have been sweating it. Me and Tony talked about it. Like, man, Trey's team's pretty bad.
Oh, you know
Um,
what it was.
but you give him, I give him credit because he went in on his guys, right? And I have a lot of respect for that of people who just stick to their dudes in a draft, right? And they're like, I'm so convicted on this. It's either going to be a super boom or it's going to be a bust, right? It's either or. There's really not no middle ground, right? Take your chances and do your thing. He does that year in, year out. But he avoided the Sacco this year, which is probably pretty good for him. And Chad ends up with it. Have you thought of any Sacco punishments for Chad yet?
Not gonna lie, I haven't put much thought into it yet,
That's good.
but
Well,
that is on my to-do list, pretty high up there
yeah,
on my to-do list over the next probably month here.
it goes Chad Sacco, feeding my children,
Feeding children. Yeah. Hold
getting
on,
to work on time.
go away. Dinner's not. I'm not cooking dinner tonight. I'm thinking of a
Yeah,
punishment.
yeah. Yeah, that's what it
No, I'll
is.
probably. I like to ask around for ideas. Put like a whole bunch of ideas in a pot and just
Mhm.
either pick one of those or
I
create my
tell you,
own.
we have a draft. So we have a draft later on, right? And I accidentally like I noticed it when you stepped away to help out with the kids for a little bit. Um, I noticed that I made my list of things completely wrong, not what we're drafting. And I made because I in my head I was thinking we should do a top five like Sacco punishments draft, right? And we'll have to save that for another episode now or whatever like that. But I had listed out like 13 of them. That's what I worked on part of the day. So
Hey,
I
keep it.
came to
What?
it right, and I was looking at it, and I was like, "Hey, man, this is pretty good, right? Like these ones, I don't think you'll have, and this, how am I going to go about it? Thinking about it." So then I was like, "Oh, I need to write down some shit of what we actually are going to draft." But
I'm gonna start
Sacco's going to
raving
be
about
interesting. That could be interesting. So we've had Tony. Tony's done two of them, right? One of them he's done public dancing in a dress with signs of honk because I'm horny. I don't know. It was honk because I suck at fantasy football, whatever to get me to dance. And he did it. That was pretty cool. We just drank a couple beers downtown, sat around, had some music going, everything like that. That was fun. Tony drank a fireball and mayonnaise shot one year. I did the polar plunge. Wayne did not pierce his belly button. Um, I want. Do you think that he thinks now? I mean, probably not because he never really did well in the league. But do you think that there's ever moments where he's like he sees us post right because he's still in the Facebook group and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? I did delete him at first, and I was like, no, we need to just keep everybody that's been in it, right? Like, there's no point in deleting it. Like, no hard feelings. Um, do you ever think that he's just like, man, it'd be fun to be back in that league, right? Or be a part of that conversation. I could have already had my belly button ring out. Do you think that ever crosses his mind?
I think he goes to bed every night going like, "Damn, I
Yeah.
fucked up."
Yeah. Yeah. Like the old ex-lady. No, but
I bet
hey,
every once in a while crosses his mind.
I wonder if he sits there. I wonder if he probably pierced his belly button. It's probably been pierced since that season started, and he was like, "God damn it, I feel bad." And then he fell in love with having a belly button piercing. I'm certain that is what happened.
Now
So
it's the norm, and he can't
yeah.
show us because he
Do you
knows
think
what
you
would
would?
happen.
Do you think you'd pierce your belly button
Me?
if that was your punishment? Yeah.
I wouldn't have a choice.
There we go. It's like Family Feud. Family Feud. Good answer. Good answer. Good
Yeah, when you know
answer.
it's a shit answer.
I would do it. I would do it. I
Doesn't
don't.
feel like anyone could really see it, so
Yeah. And it's a fun conversation starter, right? Like whatever, right? I'm a single dude now.
I wouldn't want to
I
keep it in for like a whole year, maybe like
yeah.
a little bit of time, but
Give me to yeah, a month,
yeah,
right? Something like that.
wear
And
for
then I
that's
gotta
fine for a month.
I gotta post it on my Instagram story every day.
Then I'll take it out and put a little clear thing in there, keep it in case I pierce it again one day.
Just in case the trend comes back.
If I ever
All
lose
right.
again in another league and I have to pierce it again, it's already
Yeah.
open.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the league this year or going forward or anything like that? Tony's bitched about the Sacco rules. Do you think they should change?
What does Tony not bitch about?
Yeah.
So
I don't
let me
know.
tell you. I kind of have mixed feelings on it either way. I mean, either way, it's fun to me. So
Mhm.
yeah, I kind of get it. Like if you're finishing 1-13 or whatever, and you end up winning a game in the loser bracket and you escape the Sacco, yeah, but you should also do better in the consolation bracket if you're.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can kind of go either way on it.
Yeah.
My
I
league, I record at the end of the season, but
yeah.
really either way.
I think we'll do both next year. There'll be something like the punishment will go to the regular season one, and then we'll have something right for that other person. So we're looking at doing for the people who haven't heard, we're looking at doing a league meetup thing, get together for the Colorado Buffaloes first home game. They have Nebraska here in September. Coach Prime, first game. It's probably going to be a nighttime game. I don't know why they would play a daytime game for his first game. You're up in Boulder. There's mountains, lights. It's kind of like you can get some really good dark sky out there, right? It feels like something be a little cooler. Um, but looking to do something like that, probably get an Airbnb somewhere northeast part of Denver or something like that. It's 30 minutes away, tailgate it, have a good time. But maybe that's a thing where it's like, yo, you pick up the food for the fucking tailgate or something like that, right? The losers bracket finisher, last place guy, does something like that. So
Yeah, they
um,
have to open everybody's beers.
oh, that would be great. Yeah. Hey, you gotta open up our beers or something like that. Or hey, you have to order all of our beers at a bar, right, for a night or something like that. Every time the waitress comes, oh, he'll have a this, he'll have a this, he'll have. That's good. That would be good, man. Yeah,
Oh, he'll have
yeah. You got to order all of our food at a restaurant or something like. We'll pay for our own shit, but you just got to order everything for us, right? Like,
because when's the opener? Is that in usually August, September?
so they have like a one or two away games, and then they come home. So it'll be September time
Yeah,
frame.
I know we talked about before about doing like some sweet
Yeah,
like
like the
group
Rockies.
draft or something or
Yeah, yeah, that
something.
would be cool.
I don't know if that lines up right, but
I could draft right after the NFL draft. I'm fucking dope with it. So I actually like drafting a lot earlier. I don't mind playoffs and maybe you house a couple extra guys and then you cut down rosters or something like that. But we could always figure something out there. But yeah, that'd be pretty cool. We'll figure all that kind of stuff out. But and going forward, thinking about we'll do this first one in Colorado. Most of the people are in Colorado or something like that, right? Um, and then, going forward, we pick somewhere every single year to go. Maybe something that coincides with a baseball game and then a college football game or something like that, right? Do a 48-hour bender in a city, um, little sleep, go around, see some stuff, have some fun, see a stadium or two. So I think that'd be cool. Nosebleeds are perfect for that kind of shit. It doesn't really matter where you're at, as long as you're not in SoFi getting rained on. So
yeah. Only if you're a TCU fan.
yeah, yeah, that's the move right there. So, all right, let's move on to overrated, underrated. So I got three things here. We got overrated, underrated, winning a fantasy championship.
Definitely underrated. If you haven't won a fantasy championship before, I recommend doing it. Feels pretty fantastic, especially after the third one.
Mhm,
And your league seems to be the only like competitive league I seem to do well in. I
mhm,
do win some other like work leagues and whatnot, but those don't
yeah,
feel as good as winning these competitive leagues with you and Coaches League and all that. So
yeah,
definitely recommend winning.
yeah. I think it's underrated. People who don't play fantasy football don't understand how good it feels to be better than your friends, right? Like, I don't care how much money anybody makes, how successful they are, how hot their chick is, or anything like that. If I beat them at fantasy football, they are scum. They are hobbits of hobbitses, right? Like they are the worst humans on earth. They're terrible. They know they're terrible, and you get to rub it in their face for an entire year. Anytime they bring up something that, yeah, but here's my trophy, right?
It's
And
scum beneath your toes.
it hits the soul when you're not the one who sat there and won the damn championship, right? Like this is the battleground that we all play on or whatever like that. So it's definitely underrated, and people
Yeah, I'm
who
not gonna
don't
lie.
understand it don't understand it.
You sent me my winnings. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, forgot about that. Like, it's not even like as important. I think as just be like, yeah, better than all of you.
And then you don't even have to say anything, right? You just stand taller and people know why you're doing it, right? Like, hey, I
Post a
might
picture of 3 belts.
yeah. Your kids, someone's kid has like a baseball game. I just might show up in a suit. Why is he in a suit? Oh fuck, man. It's because he's better at fantasy football than me, right? And yeah, it's the ultimate battleground. Overrated, underrated, finishing last place in fantasy football.
Ooh, you just reminded me, or you just made me think of a good fantasy punishment. I'm gonna
Mm.
make Chad walk around with rose petals, and he has to throw them at my feet when I'm walking
That'd be good. That'd be good.
for like a whole like 8 hours or something. Just
Yeah.
he's gonna, no matter where I'm at, he's got to throw rose petals at my feet.
Oh, that'd be so good. That'd be so. Oh, dude, that's so good.
Just
Yeah. Any building you
so
walk in, all
yeah,
rise, all rise.
yeah. Uh, well, bringing my kid on the show.
Hey, there we go.
Okay. So what was the question? Overrated,
Overrated,
underrated?
underrated, finishing last place in fantasy football.
Definitely. Wait. Definitely overrated. As a person who has finished last,
Yeah.
uh, I guess it depends. If it's a dynasty league and you're trying to rebuild and there's no punishment, hey, no hard feelings. I get the first pick next year.
Yeah.
But losing in a TacoCorp league where you have to pierce your belly button the next day, not recommended.
Yeah. Yeah. um, for Tony's sake, I would say that finishing last place is underrated. It's really hard to do. Like you
True.
should be proud of yourself that you are that terrible of a human being to finish in last place that many times. Um, and I think that there's something rewarding of completing a punishment, right?
Yep.
Like I remember when I had to do my polo points thing. I remember being out there, it was freezing cold. We tried to go on a lake or like a reservoir and it was frozen ice and there was people fishing on it. And I was like, we were like contemplating, like I brought a pickaxe, I
Yeah.
bought a shovel, and we're probably gonna cut a hole in ice and I'm gonna jump in it. I brought extra towels and blankets so I could put it around the edge so I don't like come out of the water and like freeze myself to ice, right? But we found like a stream that ran off of the lake or whatever, like they're fed it into it that wasn't frozen yet, but it was
Yeah.
the water was fucking there. And but after doing it, you feel good about yourself. You feel like you paid your dues, you owned up, you're a man of your word type of thing. Like there's a lot of respect for yourself that you get out of finishing last place. So there's are some positives there. And then overrated, underrated, not playing fantasy football.
Overrated. If you're not playing fantasy football and you're in your upper 20s to lower 90s, you're not doing you're doing something wrong with your life. So
Yeah.
definitely makes watching other games that aren't necessarily teams you root for more exciting.
Mhm.
And like I can watch that Red Zone channel 7 hours every Sunday, so it's definitely
Yeah.
makes football more exciting.
Yeah. Um, Not playing fantasy football, I'm gonna go with underrated, and I think that is because there's so much stress, anxiety,
This is
care.
true.
It literally takes over the life. I mean, we started a fucking podcast to talk to our fantasy football league, right? And have people from around wherever we're at be able to talk to each other, and put out stuff and make fun of each other and wonder what you're going to say the next week, right? It takes up so much time for you to not be able to do it. There's a lot of willpower there, I think, and I think that's commendable in people. Um, but the amount of like angst on a Monday night when you got a guy who needs to come back from some points, right? And you're like, oh, you're down 10 points, and this guy's got some like the second tight end for the Rams or whatever like that going because that he stinks or whatever like that. You're down 10, you got a good player, and then you get to the fourth quarter and you're down only one because this guy's put up 14 points and he's a part of the offense today for some reason. Like you just don't go to sleep on time. Mountain time's pretty good. We're done with football around 9:15 or something like that, right? On the primetime games, but it's still a pain in the ass. Um, so I think if you cannot play fantasy football, it I think it's an underrated trait that you have. I think you should still play fantasy football though.
Do
Uh,
it.
you need to
10,
be involved in
10
this
leagues.
pain.
10 leagues minimum.
When you find a good bet that you like and then you realize that so you bet, 20, 30, $40 on it or whatever, you parlay it with something, you got, on the week, you're like, hey, this game, I could win like $600 on gambling in this game. Then you realize that the team that you're playing against and you're looking for a playoff spot has those players on their team, and you're like, God damn it, I don't want them to win. And I just lost $100, right? Like, God, like so you can definitely end up accidentally parlaying yourself. Real quick, the NFL playoffs are starting this week and with the wild card round. So we're going to go ahead and pick our entire NFL bracket right now. So I got it written out right here. So we'll go through your side first of the AFC, and then I'll discuss my side real quick, and then we'll go through the whole thing predicted all the way out to the finish. Who's our Super Bowl champion? Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. So in the AFC, you got the Kansas City Chiefs with the 1 seed and a bye. The 2 seed Buffalo Bills hosting the Miami Dolphins. Who wins this game for you?
Pretty much no brainer here. Tua hasn't cleared concussion protocol, and they say he's probably not going to before the weekend. So Bills easily win this matchup.
Cool. And then the 3 seed Cincinnati Bengals host the Baltimore Ravens, the 6 seed, who they just beat last week as well. Um, who do you got in this one? Lamar
Go,
Jackson may or may not be playing.
yeah, may or may not be playing. I honestly don't think it'll matter too much. He'll come back a little rusty, I think, even if he does play. He's probably got no momentum going. I think the Bengals handle the Ravens pretty easily.
Cool. And then the 4 seed Jacksonville Jaguars, the champions of the AFC South, take on the Los Angeles Chargers, the 5 seed, who seem to be on a roll. Who you got there?
Game of the week right here.
Yep.
Uh, this one I think is going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to have to give the edge to the surging Sunshine Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, there we go. There was a guy on Instagram who commented on um, our Instagram, and there's another one on YouTube. Tony got into it on one of our shorts on YouTube because we put
Yeah.
out that the Chargers going to lose in the first round, probably, or something like that, right? Um, Guy on YouTube went into a whole thing, and somehow Tony turned it into being lactose intolerant and this guy being insensitive to it. It was pretty funny. So if you want to go check that out, check out that short. And then on Instagram, someone's like, saving this for Saturday, right? Or whatever like that. I'll be back. And then some other guy, well, do you think that the Chargers are going to lose now? They're playing the Jaguars, right? So it went on, whatever like that. Those ones caught some steam. So there's some pretty
Yeah.
invested Charger fans out there. Like, I think the reel on Instagram went from like 150 to 200 something views to like almost 3,000 in like a day and a half. So
Nice.
um, people are liking it, getting into it. So let's finish out the AFC. So with reseeding, you got Kansas City up against Jacksonville in round 2.
Kansas City against Jacksonville. I think this is where Jacksonville's run ends.
Mm-hmm.
Old Patty Mahomes will throw 758 yards against the
All right. And then you got Buffalo, Cincinnati. I
The
don't
game,
really know the rules on this coin flip shit, right?
yeah, I think. Well, didn't the Bills or Bengals get the second seed and the Bills are the third? Oh wait,
No,
no,
the Bills are
other
the
way around.
second.
So Bills and Bengals, the game we were meant to see finally.
And that's got to be weird for them getting on the field
Yeah,
together again. But
I think it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna have to give to the edge to the Buffalo Bills. It's gonna be hard for them to lose before the Super Bowl with all this momentum and like adrenaline they have going right now.
cool. And then the winner of the AFC between Kansas City, Buffalo.
We can only hope we have another game like we did last year against those two. Wasn't
Mm-hmm.
it like 40 something to 40 something? I can't
Yep.
remember overtime. That game
Their
was
game
nuts.
their game
Yeah,
earlier this season was pretty good. And Buffalo went
yeah.
into Arrowhead and won. Lower scoring, but definitely a good game.
I think we're up for another treat, and I think the Bills will edge the Chiefs and make it to the Super Bowl.
Nice. NFC. So Philly is the 1 seed. Then you got the Niners, the number 2 seed, hosting the Seattle Seahawks, the 7.
Seahawks and Niners. Seahawks all day. No, I'm just kidding. I'm about to get a what? No, Seahawks. Yeah, they did make the playoffs. The whole NFC West was garbage this year, except for the Niners. So I'm gonna take the Niners here. Purdy is going to dominate.
Yeah. You know, the Niners lost 4 games this year, right? One of them was the Kansas City. They got mopped with. The other ones they lost week 1 to the Bears, the
Yep.
worst team in the NFL. Week 3 to the Denver Broncos,
Oh,
11-10 off of Jimmy G stepping out of the back of the end zone. And then the other one was getting ran all over by the Atlanta Falcons.
yeah. 4 very good
Yeah.
teams.
They should be 15 and they should be 15-1. But that's not how the cookie crumbles.
16 and 1.
16-1, yeah, whatever that. I'm old.
Still
Um,
hard. These two.
I still remember when it was 12 games. But anyways, 3 seed Minnesota Vikings taking on the number 6 New York Giants.
New Giants versus the Vikings. I think Kirk, you like that. Cousins comes through with a victory here and moves on to the next round.
Cool. Tampa hosting Dallas.
Tampa and Dallas. Ooh-wee. So I think Tom Brady, who's now freshly single,
Hell yeah.
ready to mingle,
Hell yeah.
probably running through supermodels right now. I think they're going to come through with this. I think the Cowboys are going to keep their playoff woes going. I have not been impressed with Dak really at all this year,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the experience of Tom Brady will take them to the next round.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at in the second round, you would have Tampa going to Philly.
Tampa, Philly. I'm going to keep it going here. I'm going to say the Buccaneers upset the number
Woo!
1 seed Philadelphia Eagles. Why? I don't know. I just have a feeling. That's really all
Yeah.
I can say.
That's
That one I'll
Black Eyed
probably be
Peas.
wrong on, but yeah.
And then you got San Fran hosting Minnesota.
San Fran versus Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
This is where Kirk Cousins' legendary season comes to a hold,
There we go.
and Purdy and the Niners move on to the NFC Championship.
Cool. Then you have a rematch of Brock Purdy in his first start against Tom Brady as the NFC Championship. The Niners beat the brakes off this team a couple weeks back. Who you got going to the Super Bowl?
So I have, before we even started this whole thing, I had the Bills and Niners going to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to say the Niners pull through and murder Tom Brady's face off.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
They put a new face on him, just like John Travolta and Nicolas Cage.
You know, when a couple years back, we had the changing of the guard, right? The Super Bowl between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady they end up winning anyways, right? It's supposed to be Pat Mahomes taking this thing. This is where the changing of the guard happens. Twice you lose to Brock Purdy. He becomes the future of the NFL. Buffalo, San Francisco, who wins it all?
I'm gonna have to go with my gut here. I think it's gonna be a very good Super Bowl if those two end up going. But the adrenaline of the Bills, I'm not sure if they can be stopped this year.
Yeah. There we go. Buffalo to win it all. Cool. I'll save mine for another day. For the sake of some time. All right. So that's your bracket. We'll end up posting your bracket out there on all the socials. You can follow that at TacoCorp Pod, and then leave a comment, right? Let us know what you think is going to end up happening with the NFL playoffs. Let's move into a draft before we get out of here real quick. So, Brandon, you are notorious, right? Your Facebook is hilarious whenever you post shit. I try to post stuff that competes with you, that gets conversations going. But one of your things is recognizing that people are dumb, and the common sense things need to end up having classes made for them. And you seem to be the guy who's going to create these classes. So our draft this week is going to be the top 5 classes that need to be started. So to be a snake draft, I will draft first because all the guests usually like to have the turn. So I will be going first, and I am going to say this is probably like one of the biggest pet peeves of mine. But I'm going to start a class for spelling the word there. So that will be my first one, because people don't know the differences between there, and there.
So funny story. I'll have to remove that from my list. One of my classes is how to use there, and two.
There you go.
But my first pick in the NFL or the class draft would be how to return your effing shopping cart to the return area.
Yeah.
It's literally less than 20 seconds away, sometimes less than that. Walk it on over there and get back in your car and be on your way.
Yeah. Cross that off my list. So you got another one here with the turn?
Okay, so my third one then would be, this also relates to driving. How to accelerate when a stoplight turns green. So I experienced that again today, where I'm like 5 cars deep, light turns green, and I don't move for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I just want to punch through the windshield.
Yeah. That's a big one. So I got 2 that are kind of in the same realm a little bit here. One is shopping cart etiquette inside of a store.
That is good. Yes.
I cannot say enough times where you're in an aisle and you're trying to go through, and someone has their cart diagonal right in the center of the fucking aisle, and I can't push my cart over here. Someone is standing on back end that blocks one way, and then another person standing over here actually looking at items. And for those just listening on audio, I'm like, oh, okay, carts turned a little bit left to right inside the middle of an aisle. Person standing on the left side at the corner of it because they pushed it this way. Mom, dad's over here sitting on the right side looking for the right fucking spaghetti sauce. We know you're grabbing the Hunt's can because they're on sale for $3. Like, just get it over with so that we can go look for crackers or something like that. Or I want to get to the other side where the damn tuna fish is. Like, understand how to get on a side of an aisle.
100 square feet of real estate.
If you're going to push it up against one side, right, but you're looking at the other side of the aisle, don't go stand in front of your cart now in the middle. Yeah. Stand behind your cart, give people room to move, and just come on, man. Shopping cart in-store etiquette.
And learn how to turn. You don't push your whole cart in the aisle and then turn. You cut it.
More people need to watch Tokyo Drift.
Yes.
My other one has to do with driving as well. And this would be merging onto highways. I don't need you going 35, trying to get into a 75. You're never going to fit in between all the other cars. You are just slowing everybody else down. And then inherently the highway traffic is slowing down because one person is going to get in at 35 and everybody has to brake. Just haul ass, sea bass, punch the gas, come around that corner. It's made a bend. It's a bend for a reason. Like, Talladega. You got that big bend on the side of it. Go Ricky Bobby, go Dale Earnhardt. Maybe ride the wall like old boy this year. Get into the playoff that way. but get on the damn highway, speed up, stop.
70, speed limit 65. You need to be at least 70 by the time you get on the highway.
You need to be faster than the other cars, and then you can adjust your speed. Like that. That is the law. That's the law, and we all know it. So those are mine. You got 2, Brandon.
All right. So my next one. This one is I'm included in this group.
Mm-hmm.
How to fold a fitted sheet. Because I have no clue. Usually it just turns into rolling it into like a ball and then throwing it into the linen closet in the hallway.
Yep. That's good.
Next,
You got another one?
What is this, 4 that I'm on?
Yep.
All right, so how to draft a perfect fantasy football team, 205. We can all use the tips, and frankly, it's really hard to do.
Yeah. It's one of the only areas of the world where you can be completely wrong and still make a living. So always justify it. Always justify it. Yep. All right. So I got 2 left. I actually only have one other one written down, so I'm going to have to think of one right on the fly. Well, my first one here, I already know what I'm going to do. Never mind. I am going to do the ice to cola ratio class. I cannot stand when I go. This is why I don't do it anymore. Go to a drive-through.
Ice.
And you get a whole cup of ice, and you get about 6 ounces of your 32-ounce drink of Diet Cola, and then it's just a pain in the butt, right? I don't want to deal with that anymore. So that is going to be my class there. And then my other one is going to be the ratio of liquid condiments on a cheeseburger. I cannot stand, like, the only one that gets a pass is the Big Mac, right? When you got that Mac sauce on it, it's supposed to spill out the sides. But I don't want to have a burger where mustard's spilling out the side, or like a Burger King's really bad at this with the mayonnaise and the ketchup, right? It's always coming off the side. And the whole damn Whopper. It's one of the best fast food burgers that's out there. The Whopper is fantastic. But all the condiments make the shit slide everywhere. Like, yo, just put a little bit on there, throw the meat on top. We're good to go. Like, I don't need it to be smothered in it or anything like that, too. So, Subway's bad at it. Chipotle's bad at, like, all these places that put a sauce on something are terrible. It's like, we don't want all the sauce, man. I just need it to give a little something to make that thing not as dry. So those are my things. But and you got one more.
All right, my last one. This one's very dear to me. How to say thank you when someone opens the door for you. This one drives me insane. Some people act like you were supposed to do that. And for an example, Trey and I think it was in New Mexico, we were walking in or out of some store, and he held the door open for this like middle-aged lady. She didn't even look at him, just walked in.
Hey.
He turns his head and he goes, "You're welcome," and slams the door. So that was pretty awesome. But when people expect it, it really gets on my nerves. So how to say thank you when someone opens the door.
Yeah. There you go. All right. So to recap our draft, we got Brandon with the classes that he's going to create: returning shopping carts, accelerate on a green light, folding a fitted sheet, drafting the perfect fantasy football team, and how to say thank you when someone opens the door for you. For me, I got how to spell the words there, and there. In-store shopping cart etiquette. Get the hell out of the lane. Make some space for everybody else. Just be courteous of everybody else that's in the store, right? Be empathetic that they're trying to get some damn pasta sauce too. How to speed up when merging on the highway, the ice to cola ratio in a fast food cup, and the condiment ratio on your fast food burgers or any type of fast food that you are getting. It is always terrible. People need to learn. That's our draft for this week. Raves, Brandon, you got a rave you want to put out into the world before we get out of here?
Raves. I got 2. Just entered my last enlistment, the United States Space Force. 5 more years to retirement.
What an idiot! What an idiot!
It's not like I'm counting down the days or anything. And second rave is we'll end it with first 3-time champion of TacoCorp Fantasy Football League.
Uh, now, I'm gonna rave about just I think I'm gonna rave about Tony. We give Tony a lot of crap, right? But as we get to the end of a fantasy football season, you kind of recap and think about the things that we've done and stuff like that. Tony's always been pretty consistent with trying to push me personally. I'm the one who does all the stuff for the podcast and all the videos and all that kind of stuff, right? But he's been really good about keeping me on my toes, making sure that I'm doing them. Pretty much always available to record an episode, right? Flexes his schedule or anything like that. He's a big help for me and my family during the football season. We're trying to do this stuff. I was going to school full time as well. He watched my kids on Wednesdays nights for 3 to 4 hours in the evening so I could go to an in-person class. Him, his family, big shout out to them. Just kind of recapping the end of the year, fantasy football season. Looking forward to what we got going on for the off season and everything that we're going to be doing forward as well, and where we're looking to take this thing. Goal for the year: 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Where we'll have the watch hours or whatever like that, monetize the channel, be able to put some more money back into the league. Kind of the goal is to get everybody a setup, right? Everybody a different microphone, everybody a dope ass like laptop or something like that to operate off of, camera, whatever it may be. Get the equipment so that everybody else will be pretty involved in it. We can just hook it up real quick, go record, maybe do a couple more episodes a week, record on the weekends in the off season so that we have time to edit and all that kind of stuff and put it all out every single day, and getting a video out every day on every platform. So follow us on TacoCorp Pod everywhere: YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, wherever you watch your shit, all of your social platforms: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to figure out Pinterest. I don't know. But big shout out to Tony. Um, big help, big motivation, big accountability partner throughout this last year. So glad you're a friend. Glad you're in this league. And I'm sad you didn't get the Sacco. Speaking of Tony, go listen to his podcast, the 58 West King podcast, available on the same platforms that you're listening to this. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, watch his shit all the way through, like it, leave a comment, help grow his stuff. If it sucks, leave comments about it sucking. Just hit the up button on the like so that it pushes it up a little bit and then gets people to see the comments, and you guys can all rage in there, have fun with it. And maybe one out of the 330 million people that are, or 3 point something billion people that are in the US, I don't know what that is, will end up watching it, liking it, and sharing it with a friend. Go check out Terrence's podcast, the Whiskey Flick podcast, available wherever you're listening to this as well. All that shit's linked down below. Follow their socials, link trees, whatever it may be, and let them know that, hey, the TacoCorp podcast sent you over there. And then they can say, hey, thanks, or whatever like that. And then they can bow the knee or bend the knee to me. That's really the goal here. Banger of the week. We got to leave people with music every week. Brandon, I kind of wanted to let you pick the song, but then I was like, nope, fuck that.
I like what you got.
Yeah, I was listening to Bad Boy Records. There's like a documentary on Netflix or Amazon or something like that, where that's pretty good. But I watched a little bit of that, and then I was looking at Spotify, searched in Bad Boy this morning, and then I heard this song, and I was like, you know what? Brandon's now the bad boy of TacoCorp Fantasy Football League. He's got 3 championships. Everybody hates him. He's the guy who's getting hunted. Hope he doesn't do a Kirby Smart speech to his team where he's just like all pumped up, because then we don't stand a fucking chance, and he's going to win 4. But there's some words in the song that kind of relate to, hey, this is Brandon singing the song. Been around the world, Diddy, Biggie, and Mace. For Nate, or I'm at Nate, sorry. For Brandon, I'm Nate. This is TacoCorp Pod episode. We are done. Love you. Bye.
Peace.